Hello. Hello. Okay. We are live, I think. Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream of NRL Tier 2. Hopefully my mic is working alright, as you join me in a full wet qualifying session for NRL Tier 2, and strategy at the moment seems split, with some drivers opting for the wet compound tyres and some opting for the inters. So it will be interesting to see which tyres will be better towards the end of this qualifying session, but I presume it will probably clear up despite the wet tyres being the best right now. On board with DRA Norwegian boy, who's currently who's actually rejoined the league this week into Aston Martin, so his first laps of NRL season 2 for him. So let's see what he can do. So he goes purple through sector 1, but he is the first car on a lap. Let's see what MW15 goes purple. And we just got to keep an eye out on the inter compound tyre runners, who looks like Danilo's had a very slow sector 1, and I believe he might have backed off back on board Norwegian boy with his 25.8 first sector. Let's see what his second sector is. He runs very wide onto the entry of sector 3, but it wasn't a terrible it wasn't a terrible mistake from the Aston Martin and Crumpton. Oh, as we see Dizzy Mason spinning there. Crumpton has gone provisional pole with a 29.1, and Harry is about 2 seconds off that. Let's go back to Norwegian boy. He's running very wide out of the final corner. Let's see what the Norwegian driver can do. He does a 36, which puts him P2. Danilo, those inters aren't the tyres to be on right now, as he goes P4 with a 31.4. Tony Khan is having not the best outlap. It looks like he spun just as he was starting his lap. Let's see who else is on the lap. Jetsy is one of the inter-tyre runners. I believe so is Dan Snyder, who's a bit further ahead than his teammate on his lap. He's done a 59.8 middle sector, which is not purple, so I don't presume it will be challenging Crumpton at the top as of right now, but it might be a good lap that could get the Alfa Romeo into the top 5, but we'll have to wait and see in today's race. I hope everything is working well. As he does a 28.4, so looks like the inters may be the tyre to be on at the moment, as the Alfa Romeo driver has beaten Crumpton by almost 7 tenths. Jetsy's into the pit lane, so clearly not happy with his lap, but looks like the inters are the tyre to be on right now, as we see Hilstadino with a purple sector 1, so maybe Danilo just made a mistake, but the inters are actually better. He's done another lap now. Let's see what he can do. So he does 31.1, which is not much of an improvement, but it does take the AlphaTauri up to P6 ahead of his teammate, as Dizzy Mason is spun and retired from the session. Danilo makes a bit of a mistake and goes around. He's not the first driver to spin at turn 3 today, as we've seen many drivers struggling to handle these conditions, as Prems has a massive moment on the rear end But let's go back on board with Histadino's. Josh goes to P4 with 31.0. Very nice lap time from the Red Bull indeed, but Histadino is going to run to the line. Let's see where he can put his Williams car. He puts it in P3 with a 29.7. So it looks like the rain has definitely cleared up a bit now. So the Inters are definitely the tire to be on, as you can see Crumpton 8 tenths down in his middle sector. So the Inters definitely the tire to be on as of right now. But of course these guys will have more time to put on a set of the intermediate tyres and go for it, as all Prinz is around on those wet tyres, which are just not working at the moment for the people that gambled onto the wet compound tyres. It doesn't look like it's paying off as of right now, so they will have to probably box for new intermediates and try to salvage something from their qualifying section so far. 8 drivers haven't set a lap time so far, with Dizzy Mason already crashing out of this session, and doesn't look like he was improving on his lap time at all. But Cass was coming out of the pits. But let's ride on board with the championship leaders so far. Dirk _2864. He's on 40 points as of right now, but that will not be helping his cause. Javel goes P1 with a 28.2. Very nice lap from the Mercedes driver indeed. But let's see what Dirk can do as he locks up a bit, heading into the tricky downhill sectors. Dan Snyder now beats Javel and removes the Mercedes 1.3 and makes the Mercedes 1.2 with a very nice lap indeed, a 1:27.2. Looks like Dan Snyder's not coming out of the pit lane yet, but let's ride on board with our championship leader, who we saw have that moment out of turn 3 onto 4, but he's purple through the second sector. So can he challenge the top of the timing charts? This looks like a very nice lap indeed from the Ferrari. He's hooked up pretty much every corner apart from the one in the first sector, exiting onto the second sector. But let's see what the Ferrari does as he runs up to line. It will be P4 29.2 for the Ferrari driver. Norwegian boy spun at turn 1 on his outlap, so that is unfortunate for him. Hilstagina's on a lap, but he's backed off. I believe Javel was 9 tenths up, but invalidated. It looks like out of that final corner did a 27.3, which would have put him just behind the Alfa Romeos. It looks like there's a bit of lag going on between Javel and Lelo King, as Javel just drove straight through him. But Koenig Klontz had a bit of a moment, and my game's glitched out as it's not letting me flick onto Lelo King, who's actually in the pit lane. So this game doesn't make any sense. But Jetsy's on an outlap, lucky for him. But MW15 was on a lap, but he unfortunately invalidated. Casper's on a lap, 27.1, looked very tentative through the tricky uphill section, which is very easy to spin, but I think he'll be needing to be carrying a bit more speed through there. As I've actually missed, Dan Snyder improved on his lap time, I believe, to 26.6. So the Dutchman is carrying his confidence from last week's win into this race as he is on top. But let's ride on board with Crumpton, who's actually invalidated through the first sector. So disaster for him as Dirk puts in a very nice lap, goes P2 with a 26.7. Dirk is really showing some improved form as of this season. Welcome Luca Rosman to the stream, as always, supporting Javel. You love to see it. It's every week, very consistent. Good luck in tier 1 tomorrow. But we have Harry, who's about, which he goes P3 with 27.4. So very nice lap time from that Alpine driver, who elevates himself up into the top 3, which is exactly what he'll be needing after not scoring any points in the first 2 rounds. Danilo didn't look to have got the traction down very nicely out of turn 5, I believe, but someone has improved. It's MW15. He's gone P3 with a 27.2, so improving past the Alpine, who currently occupied his space, and Crumpton is struggling at the moment on the inters. It says he was a 10th down in his delta, but that is completely irrelevant as he's 8 tenths up and purple through sector 1, so the Mercedes is on fire. We know he has the pace to challenge at the top this season, but he did not race last week in Mexico as Prinz improves to P4. Very nice lap time from the AlphaTauri, and let's run a ball with his teammate who's now coming up to the line. Castro goes P4 with a 27.2. Danilo only improves to P9, so it looks like the AlphaTauri is struggling for a bit of pace. Josh is up 2.9 seconds through the second sector. He's lagging a bit. Jetsy, I've completely missed it, but he goes P1 with the 26.5, beating out his teammate provisionally, but his teammate is on an outlap, so I expect to see him improve. Josh goes P1 with the 26.5. Very nice lap time from the Red Bulls. We now ride on board with Crumpton, who goes P1 with a 24.8. Unstoppable pace from the Mercedes. What a lap time. He truly is the class of the field. Fantastic lap from the Mercedes. And now we're starting to see track evolution come into play. All these quick drivers are starting to improve on their lap times. Jetsy, Josh, Dan Snyder, looks like they've all been holding back so far in this session, and now the times are starting to tumble. Norwegian boy improves by 4 seconds to go P2 with a 25.9. Very nice lap time from the Norwegian driver for Dutch Racing Alliance Esports team. Very good lap as Koenig Kron is off the track, I believe, just getting out of the way of some traffic possibly, but he's still on the wet compound tyres, so not quite sure what's going down at Haas. Just Haas doing Haas things, I suppose. But it looks like Leleking is understeering a lot, and that's because he's lost his front wing on his outlap. I don't think he'll have enough time to get... Actually, he'll have enough time to come back out for 1 lap, but that might not be beneficial for the Mercedes driver. See, Dan Schneider actually invalidated his lap time, so that's unfortunate for the Alfa Romeos. Crumpton improves further by about 2 tenths, I believe, to 24.6. Very nice lap time from the Mercedes driver, who seems to be on form as of right now and dominating tier 2 at the moment. But Prinz is also in a lap, but he's 1.4 down. I presume he's just saving his tyres to go for maybe 1 or 2 more push laps in this session. Danilo's about 3 tenths up. He's been struggling for pace at the moment, so let's see what the Colombian can do on this lap. Javil also, he's improved 6 tenths through the first sector. He's definitely a name we normally see near the top, so it's uncharacteristic to see him down in P15. But let's see what Danilo can do as he runs up to the line. Can he put himself into the top 10? No, he cannot. He improves by 5 tenths, but it's not enough to move him ahead of anyone. And what is interesting is that this wet qualifying will give all the drivers a chance to start on fresh tyres, to start on any tyre they want in the race. So this could be the leaders starting on the mediums, or some people gambling for the sauces. Josh had a bit of a moment, it seems, as he's off the track, but I don't think Crumpton... Javu improves to P3 with 26.5. Very nice lap time from the Mercedes. As I said, normally a name we see near the top, but I don't think Crumpton will be able to get out and do another lap. He's currently on a 124.6, so that's holding down provisional pole, but I don't know if he'll be able to get back out again for another lap. He might just get back out for 1 more lap. Same with Norwegian boy, who I don't think will be able to do it. So now the shootout is only between the those that are out on track right now, Jayville can still get pole, Jetsy can get pole, Dan Snyder is on a lap time as we speak. He's purple through the second sector, 6 tenths up, coming up to a bit of traffic of Lelekin. He gets the apex nailed. He's going to get a bit of a slipstream from the Ferrari down here, but he has a bit of a moment, but he gets it quite nicely rotated. Can he keep it within track limits? Yes, he can. As the Alfa Romeo runs up to the line, he's going to get a bit of a slipstream from the Ferrari ahead, but not that much, but it will still aid him towards what could be provisional pole, and no, it's not. The Alfa Romeo misses out by 4 tenths to P2. Norwegian boy is out the session. As I said, we'll not say another lap time, neither will Crumpton. Their races runners, Dan Snyder has had a massive moment through turn 2 and nearly collected the Ferrari of Leleking, who was on a lap himself, and what drama that would have been. So Dan Snyder has set his best lap time this quali. He will start no better than P3 in this race. Let's ride on board with his teammate Jetsy, who's on a lap. Very nice through there, purple through sector 2, just like his teammate. He's up in his time. Dirk gets out of the way nicely for Alfa Romeo. He makes a bit of a mistake and runs a bit deep, but can he keep it nice and composed and within track limits through the last corner? What can the Alfa Romeo do as he runs up to the line? Can he put himself on provisional pole position or on the front row? Jetsy runs up to the line. What will it be? It'll be a 25-7. He improves to P3, beats his teammate, but cannot take pole position. Jayville's on a lap, but I don't think he's improving. Prems is also on a lap. Will the McLaren improve any further from P8? Yes, he will. He moves up to P7. Prinz is also on a lap. He's about a 10th up, but at the moment that won't be enough to put him inside the top 10. Leleking improves to P12. Nice lap from the Ferrari there, moving himself up. Let's ride on board with Prinz. He's getting a bit of a slipstream from Koenig-Kron, but he's also getting held up by his friend in real life. Can the AlphaTauri do anything in the final few corners? He's going to get an enormous slipstream from the Haas driver down the back straight, who doesn't seem to be improving on his lap time. About 10 seconds off P19, so it doesn't look like the Haas got a clean lap time, but it's a brilliant slipstream for the AlphaTauri, who jumps himself up into P5. Great lap, 26.4. Now only MW15 can challenge Crumpton's inevitable pole position. Can the McLaren put himself up into P1? No, he can't. It's P9, P8 and P9 for McLaren, and that is qualifying over. Unless Jetsy has something to say, which he doesn't, as he just loses it out the final corner, pushing the Alfa Romeo to the limits. Qualifying over. Crumpton takes pole ahead of DRA Norwegian boy in P2, with Jetsy P3 and Snyder P4. Front second row lockout for the Alfa Romeos. Prince Conte P5, Jayville's P6, Josh starts P7, Prems and MW15 start P8 and P9 respectively for McLaren, and Pinty starts in P10 in what has been an amazing qualifying session. And the championship leader, Dirt, is down in P11, so not the greatest qualifying for him, but there's still many laps of racing ahead of us, so he can pull this back, definitely. But let's just go over the final quality results. It's Crumpton on pole with a 24.686, taking pole position by 7 tenths. What an amazing lap by the British Mercedes driver. DRA Norwegian boys qualifies P, first race back in NRL. Jetsy is P3, lining up alongside his Dutch teammate Dan Snyder in P4. Prince will start P5 for AlphaTauri, flying the flag high. Jayville starts P6, making it a Mercedes P1 and P6. Josh will start P7 with Prems and MW15 P8 and P9. Pinty gets the last top 10 spot with a 26.7. Dirk just misses out on the top 10 with 26.767, which is 5 hundredths off the top 10. Williams Hilstadino finishes P12. Leleking, Elite Casper, Harry Danilo has a 5-second 5-position grid penalty. Conan Cron and Dizzy Mason rounding out the grid. Welcome, Wolfie. I hope you're having a good evening to stream. Hope you be as able to before 5 will be your free tire drive and so Crumpton is right this race. However, one thing about is that ultimately is strong. So the song is medium here, and while the strategy around have to be of the can get Jay rocking a Portugal flag. I'm pretty sure he's not Portuguese, but that's pretty cool, I guess, for him. But let's look at the tyre choices. So Norwegian boy, who wants to get on with this formation lap, overtaking Crumpton, is on the medium compound tyre, whilst Crumpton has decided to go for the softs. Jetsy and Dan Snyder are going aggressive on the softs. Prince Colante starts on the softs. Jayville's on the mediums. Josh, Prems, MW15, Pinty and Dirk all on the soft compound tyres. Heel Cedino's on the mediums. Lelo King on the mediums as well. Elite Casper's on the mediums. Harry's on the softs. Conan Cron and Dizzy Mason both going for the softs, but they've made contact stupidly on the formation lap and disqualified each other, and Danilo from the back of the grid, much like last week in Mexico, will start on the mediums from the back. So it'll be interesting to see what the Colombian driver can do. Obviously, not had the best start to the season, I believe, scoring no points so far. But it'll be interesting to see what happens down towards turn 1. Obviously, Norwegian boy will not have the grip starting on the medium compound tyres at the moment. But his strategy might be better for later on the race. But as I said before, the alternate strategy isn't very strong around here, so this could backfire for the Aston Martin. But we'll have to wait and see. Jetsy and Snyder will be desperate to get past the Aston Martin down towards turn 1, as he will just ruin their strategy if he is stuck in front of them. They cannot catch up to Crumpton. Prince P5 will also be like the Alfa Romeos, wanting to get past that Aston Martin. Jayville in the Mercedes will be looking to retain his position. Maybe he could play a key role in today's race. If Crumpton is being hunted down, he could go long and try to hold up the other cars for his teammate, but we'll have to wait and see. 33 laps are ahead of us here at Portimao as the last few cars line up to the grid. Danilo in his AlphaTauri will be the last person to line up on the grid as we go towards 5 red lights for the NRL Tier 2 Portuguese Grand Prix. We'll have to watch this space, as it will be a very interesting start as we just wait for the drivers to lights 5 red, and it's lights out and away we go. Looks like a very good start for Crumpton off the line. Good start for Jetsy, who's already alongside and ahead of Norwegian boy into turn 1, but Norwegian boy fights back, pushes Jetsy a bit wider. There's a bit of contact at the back, I believe, as Dizzy Mason has dropped to P18. MW15 and Prems are both up to P6 and P7. Prince, it looks to have damage as he's dropped to P10, or he's just had an awful start as he now tries to have a look on Dirk but cannot make the move. MW15 gets past Jayville up into P5, so it's a good start for Crumpton, who keeps his P1, and a good start for the Norwegian boy, who keeps his P2. But drama at the back as Pinty, nearly contact there as Elite Casper ran very wide. But drama at the back as Pinty and Dizzy Mason were sent tumbling towards the back of the grid. So not the greatest start for the Red Bull driver, who looks to be struggling today, and I believe might have some wing damage. No, does not. Pinty doesn't have wing damage either, and Lelo King is either very slow or has some serious connection issues as Casper is just driven into her back. of Koning Klon and now has no wing. That looked very odd. He just drove into the back of him and lost the whole of his wing. So a very interesting incident, but the gap out front is already 1 second and it's 1.1 from Jetsy to Norwegian Boy. So looks like Norwegian Boy is making those medium compound tyres work as it stands. And MW15, beware of the McLaren who is closing into Dan Snyder at the front. We have 4 drivers into the pit lane. Like I suspected, Prince did have damage. Casper obviously we saw lose his front wing. Dizzy Mason's also into the pit to box for damage, and Pinty is also into the pit, so he must have gotten damage at turn 1 as well. So that's unfortunate for the Williams driver who had a decent qualifying in P10. But I'm still very confused at that Elite Casper Koning Klon incident, as it looked like he just drove into the back of Koning Klon and lost his whole wing, which should not be happening on standard damage. But that's something you expect to see on simulation. But at the moment the gap out front is 2.6 seconds. Crumpton at the moment is driving away with it, but Jetsy, he will be desperate to get past Norwegian Boy, as I've actually forgotten to enable the HUD, so we haven't been able to see the drivers' ERS levels. But at the moment everyone in the top at the top is 70-60% ERS and over, apart from MW15, who's obviously burning a lot of ERS to stay within the DRS range of Dan Snyder, as he is now in the DRS. Maybe he can conserve the energy a bit. Lelo King is off at turn 1. Looks like the Ferrari's had a moment, and Posadino has either gotten damage or he's in for a very early pit stop at Williams, as he comes out just ahead of his teammate who actually understeers off the track. So that'll give his teammate DRS, so hopefully the two Williams can work together and catch back up to the pack in this race. But it'll be very difficult without a safety car, but anything can happen, as we already know. Jetsy, he's now fallen out the DRS range of Norwegian Boy. So it looks like the Aston Martin driver so far has very good pace on these medium compound tyres, and Jetsy actually did get DRS, but looks like he's not able to hang with the Aston Martin so far. But of course we don't know what's happening with track limits. Maybe Norwegian Boy is pushing the limits a bit more to gain a bit more extra lap time at the start of this race. But time will tell, as he has a bit of moment coming out of turn 4, which gives Jetsy more security into the DRS range of the car ahead, but he goes very deep into the hairpin, but fortunately doesn't lose too much time. So Dirk, who is now, Prens managed to get past Jayville up into P6, but Dirk is now P8. He's moved up 3 spaces from where he started, which is P11, as Pinty gets past his teammate down towards turn 1. So it looks like the Williams might be swapping every lap. Maybe some smart tactics going on there, as MW15 is running quite nicely with the top 5, but I expect to see him drop off the pace quite soon, as he's used quite a lot of ERS, and once he is completely out of ERS he will start to drop off the back of these guys, as I don't believe he has the pace to challenge any of them. But at the moment it's working for the McLaren, so he can keep on doing that. But Dirk gets past Jayville down towards turn 1. The Mercedes is defenseless. He's not making those medium tyres work, unlike Norwegian Boy, who's doing a very nice race at the moment on those mediums up in P2. So good stuff from him. Josh, who not talked about a lot, he's moved down 4 spaces, I believe, from where he began. Yeah, 4 spaces, P7 to P4. So let's just look at the position change. No change in the top 4. MW15 moved up 4 places. Prez moved up to Dirk moved up 4, so good start for the Ferrari. Javier is down 2, but he is on the medium compound tyres, so that is understandable. Harry's up 6, so very nice start from the Alpine driver so far, as he just extends track limits and picks up another warning, and probably another one there as well. Danilo's up 8 positions from where he started, so very good start for the AlphaTauri so far. Josh is down 4 positions, so not the greatest start. Conan Kont is up 4, good stuff from the Haas so far. Leclerc has retained his position as he runs very deep. And Harry's into the pit lane. Is it a 2-stop here from Alpine, or he's just retired in the pit lane? Which is very confusing considering he was running in a good position. Maybe an emergency for the Alpine, but he is out this race and once again will score 0 points in tier 2. But Prince Conte, anyways, as I was saying, is down 9 places. So whilst there was a good start at one AlphaTauri garage, there was an awful start at the other. Pinty's down 5, Hilstadino's down 3, as he just overtook Carey in the pit lane and gets past his teammates and makes it down 2. Whilst his teammate goes to down 5, Hilstadino ran very wide. Casper is down 2 from where he started, and Dizzy Mason, who's not having the best race so far as he has a massive moment, is down 1 position and has 23 seconds of time penalties. Leather King has 10, 3 for Josh and 3 for Pinty and Casper, and they are the only 5 cars to have penalties so far. But let's cut back to the battle at the top. 6 seconds is the gap from Crumpton to Norwegian Boy, but Jetsy still is not able to get past, and Snyder is actually falling out of the arrest of his teammate and Norwegian Boy, so he'll have to work hard to get back within it, as no battles in the midfield so far. So it looks like everything just calmed down a bit. Dirk is sticking quite nicely to the back of this 3-car train of Prem's, Dirk and Jayville, as Jetsy has lost it. Jetsy's lost it. He's had a moment out of coming up the hill, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty, and he's also lost time. He's lost about 5 seconds. Is now down into P5, and as we could see by the gravel on his tyres, it looks like Alfa Romeo just had a bit of a mistake, and that could be costly in today's race, as now Dan Snyder is 2 seconds behind and will not have the DRS in the car behind, so he's going to have to work on the car ahead, so he's going to have to work very hard to try and catch up to Norwegian Boy, but it will be a tough ask for the Alfa Romeo, as Casper's in again at Aston Martin. Going down the pit lane now. Can Previs possibly can this 4-car train, as Prem spins coming out of the pit lane, can this 4-car train possibly, well, what will be a 4-car train if Danilo can catch up? Can they catch up to Jetsy, who I'm sure with his pace can connect them to the battle for P3, which could come a battle for P2, but looks like the pace at Aston Martin, well, for one of them anyways, is very strong, and so is Crumpton's pace at the moment, who is lapping quicker than the whole field by quite some miles. He's doing an 18.8, and the next fastest lap is a 19.9 from Norwegian Boys. So the rest of the field not really on the pace. Now it looks like it could be another whitewash win. It could be a first whitewash win for the Mercedes, but as we saw in Saudi Arabia, anything is possible. He led almost the whole race, but a late mistake after a late safety car saw him drop to P2 at the end of the race, with Dirk picking up the race win, as we now run ball with the Ferrari, who's dropped out of DRS range of Prems. But I'm just looking at the gaps here to leader. If Crumpton were to pit, I believe he'd either come out in this gap between Josh and Danilo, or just in front of Danilo, bordering on being in front of, just in front of Danilo, which would put him in a very nice gap, as the next car would be his teammate, which I'm sure would oblige to team orders to let him go. But at the moment, it's a very quiet race. Dizzy Mason's had another spin at the back once again. The Red Bull driver's not having the greatest race, unlike Crumpton at the front, but it looks like everything's just calmed down at the minute and nothing is really happening. But the MW15 is actually sticking to the back of Dan Schneider quite nicely. But whilst nothing is happening, I will remind you guys of the standings after round 2 of the championship. So, as I was saying, it's Dirk out in front with 40 points after his race win in Saudi Arabia, and Dizzy Mason has crashed. Is that a safety car? Yes, it is a safety car. Safety car in this race. Josh is into pit lane immediately, and this is going to close the front pack up once again. This could be interesting. Will all the front runners box for hard compound tyres? Because I don't think, well, Josh is in for a set of mediums. I don't think the hards, I don't think the mediums will make it to the end of the race. So will the drivers box onto hards to try and go to the end? Lello, so I presume it's a set of hards down at Ferrari. Will Prince come in as well? Prince stays out on the mediums. Hifsidino decides to box. Pinty stays out. So splitting the strategy out. Williams. Koenig Kront is in on his soft compound tyres. Casper's already boxed for mediums. So the different strategies could play a key part in the rest of today's race. Inside Line Racing League 44 says, I don't even know what happened. I believe that is Dizzy Mason, so unfortunate on the crash, mate. Crumpton's into the pit lane for new medium compound tyres. Norwegian boys into the pit lane for hards, I presume, at Aston Martin. Dasnid's into pit lane, MW15 into pit lane. Will Jetsy box as well, or will he try something different? No, the Alfa Romeo is going to box. He's going to keep a nice distance so he doesn't get the double stack. Norwegian boy is onto another set of the mediums, which means he will have to box again. So I think he'll be hoping for a safety car in this race. Jayville has slotted into P2, and how convenient is that for Mercedes? That is very convenient, as now Crumpton has the extra protection of his teammate in P2 before Norwegian boy can even think about challenging him. So the strategy called down at Mercedes. There's Snyder's onto new mediums, MW15 onto me. So it looks like everyone's gone for the mediums apart from Lello King, who's gone onto the hards, but he might box some mediums as well. Prince Colonte is in for a set of the... Let's see what the AlphaTauri goes on to. I presume he'll be boxing for hard compound tyres. No, it's a nice set of mediums at AlphaTauri. I believe he did... Yeah, he started the race on softs, I believe. So this is a perfectly legal change of tyres for the AlphaTauri. Pinty's in for hard compound tyres. Hifsidino's onto 3-lap older mediums, I believe, and cannot undercut Prince Colonte. Koenig Kront is onto new softs. Casa onto new mediums, and Josh and Danilo have also gone for new softs. So it looks like the majority of drivers are sticking for the mediums. Jayville is the only driver to stay out, and I presume that might be some tactics play from Mercedes, who are trying to hold up the cars behind. Jayville is trying to hold up the cars behind so his teammate Crumpton can retain the race lead. But Jayville's into the pit lane. He's decided he's made the wrong strategy call. He's going to box now, which now eliminates that buffer zone that Crumpton had as the Mercedes driver is in. Norwegian boy is now right behind Crumpton, and with the good safety car restart could be challenging the Mercedes down towards turn 1. We'll have to wait and see what the Mercedes can do, but it could get very close into turn 1. But anyways, as I was saying before, the safety car appeared as Jave was onto set of the soft compound tyres. He nearly had contact with Lelo King on pit exit. Yeah, Jave was onto soft, but as I was saying before, this safety car restart, I was going through the championship standings. So Dirk on top with 40 points at the moment. 1 race win, 2 podiums. Good stuff from the Mexican driver so far. Not looking so great for him in this race so far, but he can definitely pick up a result, as we saw him do in Saudi Arabia and Mexico. Gasly is currently in P2 with 25 points to his name, which came from his race win at Mexico, as he, unfortunately for him, DNF'd towards the end of the Saudi Arabia race. Prince Colonte, who's been having a decent season so far, P3 with 24 points, 2 P4s to his name, unfortunately not having the best race so far. Crumpton is currently P4 in the championship with 19 points, which was a second place in Saudi Arabia and a fastest lap, as he did not race in Mexico, I believe. Jesse is P5. I believe he finished 3rd in Saudi Arabia and then got P9 with a point for fastest lap in Mexico, but the safety car is in this lap. So let's cut back to the action. We'll update you on the safety on the standings after this, but it's a very good restart for Crumpton. He's flown away once again after this restart. That Slider is not able to challenge. The Aston Martin, but it looks like Javille's getting the move done in towards turn 1. Danilo's gone for a very, very late dive, which was never going to work, and he's dropping down the orders now. Lelo King is struggling on those hard compound tyres. Prince might go for a move, but he's kind of boxed in by the Ferrari, by the Williams, who's also going for a move. As there's massive contact, Javille is round. Javille is down to P10, and it looks like Dirk might have also got involved in that incident as well. Yeah, Dirk did get involved. He has front wing damage. Massive incident down at turn 5. As there's another incident. Koenig Kron is round. What is happening today is Javille has no wing at all, and Lelo King is going to slip down the inside of the Mercedes up into P13. But his teammate, the championship leader, also has wing damage. Who else might have got caught up in that kerfuffle? Maybe it was only the 2 drivers. But at the moment, Crumpton, the gap is 7 tenths at the front. Good restart from the Mercedes so far. That Slider doesn't look to be able to run with the pace of the top 2 at the moment. And MW15 is sticking quite nicely with the Alfa Romeo, with Jesse right behind us. Josh is going to get past Pinty down towards turn 1. Dirk is into the pit lane. Koenig Kron's up to P13. So Dirk and Javille into the pit lane. Looks like they were the only 2 cars caught up in that collision, which saw them both get wing damage. Koenig Kron is round at turn 1. Unfortunate for the Haas driver, who now stays P13 as the other 2 in the pit lane. So disaster down at Mercedes and Ferrari, who were in promising positions before their contact down at turn 5, which will be reviewed by the stewards, because I presume one of them will submit a claim about that incident. But at the moment, looks like MW15 is the closest car on track to another, but actually it's Prince, who's all over the back of the Williams, who I think might have got involved in that incident as well, because he is struggling at the moment. But it might just be the hard compound tyres. Look at the grip that AlphaTauri has out of the corner, as AlphaTauri is going to line up the Williams down towards turn 1. He's not going to even bother in the DRS, but there's a battle for P3 and P4. MW15 versus Dan Slider. The Slider defends his line very nicely from the McLaren driver, but he's going to have another bite of the cherry down towards the hairpin. He's going to send it down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Will Dan Slider leave space? Yes, he will. MW15 runs downside a bit off track, but does leave him enough space for the Alpha Male to come back on track. They're going to go side by side. Surely this will not end well. Oh, MW15 is pushed off the track and he gets a time penalty. But he's going to get an amazing switchback on the Alfa Romeo. This is a great battle as they head towards the next corner. MW15 has got the move and is up into P3. Amazing racing from the McLaren and Alfa Romeo driver. Absolutely amazing. As I've actually missed Luca Rosa and putting in chat with the one stop last. Yes, I think it will on the medium compound tyres, but they will be very dead at the end. Or they could be all going for a two-stop, but I'm not sure at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see how the race develops. But great battling from the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren is here comes Alfa Romeo again, down the inside this time, gets it done before turn 1. Unlike MW15 can't. Will MW15 launch it down the inside? Yes, he will. That Snyder leaves the space to be fair, but the McLaren is fighting this aggressively. That Snyder has a bit of a moment. That Snyder defends the inside this time. MW15 is going to try around the outside. Jetsy had a bit of a look on his teammate. That Snyder forces MW15 off track, but MW15 will have the drive, returning the favour from Alfa Romeo. But MW15 will just have to settle for P3 this time around, and we'll have to try again down the main straight. The McLaren, he's just stuck with the Alfa Romeo during that first stint, but now all the gloves are off as he's looking for that P2 move, and it's great racing so far from the two. But what has happened because of this battle is that Crompton is now pulled out another massive lead to 8 seconds, and what I've completely missed is Norwegian boy has dropped from P2 to P5. So disaster from the Aston Martin driver, who's now dropped from, well, look, a very comfortable P2 to P5. But MW15 is going to come again down towards turn 1. Will he look for the move or will he stick behind? He has no ERS. Jetsy has 30. Das Snyder has 30. Casper retires in the pit lane. Das Snyder's run wide through turn 2. It's going to give MW15 a chance to attack him again. It looks like it's going to be a kamikaze move from the McLaren. He's going to go to the inside. Maybe send the Alfa Romeo wide like he did 2 laps ago. Down the inside from the McLaren driver. Das Snyder this time giving space around the outside. He's going to force the McLaren all the way to the curb. Will the McLaren try the switchback move once again? Das Snyder forces him a bit wide. MW15 looks like he's going to go for that switchback again. Will he get the move done? Looks like he's just going to stick behind for now. Good racing from the two drivers battling for P2 at the moment. But all this is doing is letting Crompton run away with the race as of right now. But possibly a late safety car could help these guys out. But this battling has now formed a 5-way battle for P2. As now Norwegian boys back in DRS of Jetsy. And Jetsy might be looking for the move now on MW15, who's not had the greatest middle sections, falling behind Dan Snyder quite a bit. Jetsy's going to look for the move. DRA Norwegian boy is going to look for the move. Can the Dutch Racing Alliance esports driver make the move round the outside of the McLaren? He's going to try it, but the McLaren's not going to leave him much space. He's going to switch to the inside. Can he get the move done? MW15 is forced a bit wide. He's pushed onto the curb. He's going to try fight it back, but the Norwegian boy just tagged him, and MW15 is round. Unfortunate for the McLaren driver, who now sees what was a great battle for P2 now become a battle for P9 as he's been spun around by the Aston Martin driver. So that will be reviewed by the stewards, but really unfortunate for the McLaren driver. He was having a great battle up to this point, but what we have missed is this battle for P6. Danilo now is going to have a look on Hilstadino. He has a bit of a moment coming out the exit, and he's going to send it to the inside. Hilstadino leaves the space around the outside. They go side by side, starting sector 2. Will Danilo get the move done? Yes, he does. Around the outside. Very nice move indeed. But will MW15 be able to bounce back from that setback as we now bounce back to the battle at the front? Can Norwegian boy make the move on Jetsy? Looks like he's just going to stick behind in the DRS for now. and save a bit of battery, as he is running low himself, and Prems just doesn't have any battery to attack these guys either and cannot keep within DRS. But Hilstadino gets past back Josh into turn 1, but has a massive moment. Jabil is out the race, he is crashed. Oh, Danilo runs into the back of Hilstadino and has picked up wing damage as he understeers off the track. That's going to allow Josh to get up into P7 in this race if he can get the dive bomb done correctly, which he can. Jabil is off the track, as we can see, but it looks like no safety car or VSC has been brought out by the Mercedes. Unfortunate for him, he will not score any points in today's race, and I'm sure Luca Rosman will not be happy at all in chat, as his main man is out of the race. So better luck next week for the Mercedes driver. But yeah, Danilo has gotten damaged and he's struggling badly as he now gets overtaken by his teammate for P9, and Pinty's now going to have a look down the inside, going to send it and get the move done on the AlphaTauri. He's now dropped to P11, so unfortunate for him. A simple mistake just is cost him his whole race at the moment. But Dirk hasn't had any pace on his mediums after boxing under the safety car and is now dropped back to P14. Luca Rosman, JB will get a penalty. JB will get a podium next week. Wishful thinking. We'll have to wait and see what he can do next week. But he definitely can't do anything this week as he is out of the race. But his teammate is leading the race, so good points for Mercedes so far in the constructors. If it can stay like this, as Hilstadino is very late on the brakes and nearly runs into the back of VR Josh, who has managed to get past the Williams driver, as now the Norwegian boy is all over the back of these two AlphaTauris. Dirk's up to P13 after Danilo has Boxville in his soft compound tyres. Let's see what the Aston Martin could do. So he runs very deep into the final few sectional corners. This is going to allow Jetsy to have a look on Dan Schneider, as now he doesn't have to worry about that persistent Aston Martin behind. He can now set his sights on his teammate, who's a bit lower on ERS. Will they just stay in position for now? And yeah, it looks like they're going to do that. They're going to keep the positions the same for now, which is probably the smartest thing to do. But I think it might be better to release Jetsy, as I believe Jetsy does have more pace than his teammate. As you look at the fastest lap, yeah, he's a bit quicker than his teammate at the moment. Maybe he could try and do something to catch up to Crumpton. He's now 14.3 seconds in front. Absolutely unstoppable driving from the Mercedes driver, who at the moment just can't seem to be stopped. But Dirk, is that Dirk who's round? No, it's Lelo King. Lelo King has spun out of turn 4. Very easy corner to get wrong, as many of us know. Lelo King has left the session. I believe that might be an intentional leave from session, so he will be penalised. He'll be penalised for that, for leaving the session. But Conan Cruntz into the pit lane at Haas for new medium compound tyres, as he gets lapped by Crumpton. I believe that might be, yeah, he's the first car to be lapped today, today's race. So that's unfortunate for the McLaren, sorry, the Haas driver. Is Norwegian boys into the pit lane, so he is going for the 2-stop. So could we see action down at the other garages as well? Could the, oh, Norwegian boy has damage, so that might be why he's into the pit lane. But the fact he's gone into soft compound tyres, could we see action at the front? Is the 2-stop the way to go? Because if it is, then these Alfa Romeos could try to stay out and long it on the 1-stop and try to stop Crumpton from winning this race. What looks like an inevitable race win at the moment, as he's just unstoppable on the medium tyres. We thought he was fast on the softs. Well, he's even faster on the mediums. Norwegian boy moves up past the ghosted car of Lelo King up into P10. So the Aston Martin driver is now up back into the points. Josh, who's on 11 lap old sauce, I expect to see him in the pit lane right now. So the Norwegian boy picks up another 3-second time penalty, so that's a good opportunity to look at the penalties so far. 3 seconds for Jetsy, 3 seconds for Prems, and 3 seconds for Josh at the moment. MW15 also has 3 seconds. That Snyder's out of ERS, so it looks like Alfa Romeo playing team game. They let Jetsy charge his ERS in. That Snyder's DRS for a bit, but it looks like they're gonna let. Oh, it's Josh. Oh no, sorry, Josh is into the pit lane. I thought he spun, but Josh is into the pit lane. Hino's into the pit lane. So more 2-stoppers. But anyways, as I was saying, that Snyder is now going to charge his batteries in the DRS of his teammate, whilst Jetsy pushes along, but the gap now 17 seconds to the leader, who also has no penalties. Prems has 3 seconds of penalties, MW15 6 seconds, Pinty 3 seconds, 6 seconds for Norwegian boy, 3 seconds for Josh, who's onto new mediums. Hilsey Jr. has no penalties, Lele King on 21 seconds, but he's left the session. Dirk is on no penalties. Danilo's on 3 seconds and is all over the back of the Ferrari, and Conan Cron is on 3 seconds. But anyways, let's catch back up to the top. Crumpton is not showing any signs of slowing down. He does a new fastest lap in 18.5 on the medium. So maybe the Mercedes driver is just trying to maximize the potential of his medium compound tires right now, so he can box onto soft compound tires. Could this be the in lap for the Mercedes, who's pushing very hard at the moment? And as I said, it looks like Jetsy has a lot more pace than his teammate, as he's now pulled out of the DRS range of Dan Schneider, who's just struggling to keep with him at the moment, especially with the lesson ERS. So it doesn't look like any team games down at Alfa Romeo at the moment. Doesn't look like Dan Schneider will be allowed to save his ERS in the DRS of his teammate. Looks like Jetsy just wants to get on with his race and see what he can do against Crumpton. He knows if Crumpton pits, he's staying out, because they will not have any better opportunity to try and win this race. I presume both Alfa Romeos will stay out until they are certain that Crumpton will not box. So probably lap 32 is where we could see, lap 31, lap 32 is where we could see some action down at Alfa Romeo, if it is to come in this race, where they try to go for the fastest lap. But as it stands, they will not be doing anything of this, waiting for Crumpton to possibly box, but no one knows if the Mercedes driver will. At the moment, his pace is very strong, so it doesn't look like he will. Shout out to McLaren, who are running a very nice race, P4 and 5, but that will change. MW15 is into the pits and becomes another driver to switch onto the 2-stop strategy. So is the 2-stop the way to go? A lot of the lead pack cars are going for the strategies. Conan Cronus Lem passing lap cars there. Norwegian boy with a new fastest lap, a 1:18.5. Great lap time from the Aston Martin, who conveniently picks up another 3-second time penalty as we are on board with him, but he does have the pace, so maybe, just maybe, the 2-stop is the way to go. It was Crumpton. I think Crumpton might be pushing his hardest to try get out of the DRS range, to try get out the pit stop range of the two Alfa Romeos. He doesn't pit again, so it looks like he could be staying out to the end of the race, which is not good for the Alfa Romeos. But Prince Clonte is P5. Will he or Prem's box? I don't think any of the Alfa Romeos will be in this lap. Jesse is obviously going to stay out. Will Dan Snyder try split strategy? No, he won't. He stays out as well. Maybe Prems is into the pit lane following his McLaren teammate. No, he does not. So some drivers are going to stick to the 1-stop and some are going to go for the 2-stop. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes towards the end of this race. But one person that this strategy is benefiting at the moment is Pinty on those hard compound tyres. He's run a very decent stint, 14 laps, and they will be nowhere near the end of their life. So he will easily make it to the end of the race. And now he has a lot more grip, as you can see, than that AlphaTauri in front. So he can now challenge for P5 possibly in this race. So Good stuff so far from the Avataris. The gap up front is now 20.5 seconds. So I think, Danilo gets past Dirk down towards turn 1. But anyways, as I was saying, I think he is going for that strategy. Crumpton is going for that strategy to try pull out of the pit stop range of the cars of the two Alfa Romeos and then box for new soft. And he's making it work at the moment as Danilo is weaving quite a lot down the straight, but only made 2 moves, so all is fair from the Avatari driver. But Dirk at the moment is not able to get past Koenig-Klont. He's not been having a great race, and Lelo King is out of the session as he left the session, I believe. So gap out front is now 21 seconds, so I think Crumpton might be able to box for new softs and still come out in front. The guy has incredible pace in this race so far. But also watch out for the Norwegian boy, who is catching back up to this battle for P5, Prims and Pinty. I don't think he'll be able to catch Prems in P4. He's running a very nice race in that McLaren so far. Has the most ERS of all the drivers right now, apart from Lelo King, who's a bot of course, and Koenig-Klont, who's at the back. So Prems is running a very nice race in P4 for McLaren at the moment. MW15, we saw box onto the soccer tyres, not making it work at the moment as he picks up another 3-second time penalty. So maybe a mistake down at McLaren. Should he have stayed out? But Crumpton stays out another lap, and I'd like to see the tyre wear on these guys' tyres. Could they be getting towards puncture territory? Because that would be crazy if Crumpton were to lose this race to a last lap puncture. But his tyres, from what we can see, don't look too bad, so the Mercedes should be able to get these to the end of the race at the moment. But he can always box for extra security once he's pulled out of the tip stop range. The gap now 22 seconds at the front, so it looks like Crumpton will be winning this race, bar any major mistakes or major incidents in the rest of this race, like a safety car. But Pinty, as I said, has a lot more grip than the AlphaTauri right now on those hard compound tyres. This is where the hards pay out in the long game. It looks like he's going to go for the move down towards the hairpin. Prince goes defensive. Pinty's going to send it around the outside. They make a bit of contact, but it's all fair as they now run down towards the corner. We saw MW15 and Dan Snyder going side by side. Pinty's going to get the move done, and he's up into P5 in the Williams. Very nice move as his tyres are now starting to come to fruition, and Princes are starting to die at the front. But DRA Norwegian boy will very soon be onto the back of Prince and possibly past the AlphaTauri driver who's looked to stay out on his medium compound tyres, just like the top 4. So looks like Prince is struggling, looks like Dan Snyder is struggling, and Jetsy can't really do anything against the unstoppable pace of Crumpton at the minute. So it could be, but anything could happen. Maybe a puncture for the Mercedes or a last lap mistake could give the Alfa Romeos this race win. But at the moment it doesn't look like they will be challenging the Mercedes, and Prems also has to be wary as a mistake from him could definitely let Pinty on those hard compound tyres, which are starting to come into their zone, catch back up to him. But Josh is having a fairly quiet race at the moment, where he will have the Williams of Hilstadino who's catching up to him to contend with in a few laps. MW15 just hasn't been able to make it work after pitting for those new softs. Maybe he should have stayed out. Was it the wrong strategy called down at McLaren? Danilo boxed for softs, but he hasn't really been in the race all race. Dirk is after he got that damage on the safety car restart with the collision with Javel, he's dropped to the back and has not really been able to fight back. But he is within the DRS of Danilo, so can maybe make a move for P11 in this race, although it won't amount to much. As DRA Norwegian boy and Prince are going side by side through the final corner. Norwegian boy just has to stick behind onto the straight, but he's going to go for it down towards turn 1. Prince has a lot more ERS though, and now he's going to turn defense into offense. Pinty defends the inside. Prince has to go around the outside. He misses his breaker point. Norwegian boy is through. Can Norwegian boy look for a move on Prince? He goes for an absolute send down the inside from the Norwegian driver. Pinty is pushed wide. Now Prince is going to have a look around the outside, but he can't make it work. Pinty stays in front of Prince, and Prince he drops down to P7. So in the end, DRA Norwegian boy makes the move. I think he was weaving there to say sorry to the AlphaTauri, to say sorry to the Williams, who he kind of sent a dive bomb on. But just as I said, Crumpton was waiting to get out the DRS range, the pit stop range of the two Alfa Romeos before boxing for new softs, and it looks like he might have achieved that. We'll have to wait and see. Can Jetsi maybe pull off a miracle? But nah, Crumpton is already down at turn 1. By the time Jetsi is getting down to turn 1, the gap is about 1.4 seconds. But I don't think Jetsi will be able to do anything unless he has some pace stored up, which he's not used. But it'll be very difficult for the Alfa Romeo to win this race now with Crumpton on fresh soft compound tyres. But it's giving him a bit of hope as Prince now is getting past Pinty. Look at the gap already from Norwegian boy to these guys. He's pulled out about 2 seconds already on that lap alone. So it looks like the soft compound tyres are definitely the quickest way to go as of right now. Hustadina is still unable to make a move, but Crumpton's lagged down the session. Disaster for the Mercedes. Crumpton has lagged out the session right at the end, and surely this will gift the win to Jetsi. Casper's also left the session, but he's already retired. Crumpton has lagged out the session right at the end. Will the Mercedes driver be able to win this race? Let me send him a quick invite. This is disaster. Absolute heartbreak for the Mercedes driver, who will now see his hard work all go to waste if he cannot get back into this session quickly enough. I've sent him an invite, but it doesn't look like he will be able to get back in. Can Jetsi win this race? Jetsi has 3 seconds time penalty, so he'll need to overtake the Mercedes and pull out 3 seconds, whilst Dan Schneider will also need to overtake the Mercedes. But Crumpton's back in the session now, so he'll be joining back into his car very soon. But Jetsi gets to move up into P1. This has given us some drama we didn't expect at the end of this race, and anything can happen in NRL Tier 2. But Crumpton will be very soon back in his car and still able to win this race if his AI can keep with Jetsi, which at the moment it looks like it's able to, as Jetsi now. Crumpton is still not back in his car at the moment. Koenig Klont has binned it. Will Crumpton get back into his car? Yeah, Crumpton is back. Crumpton's back, but he's now behind Jetsi, and he's messed up the interval timing. But he's going to have a chance to attack Jetsi on the final lap to get his race win back on track and not win it on penalties. Can the Mercedes driver make it work? Down towards turn 1, we're going to see some action for the Mercedes. He's going to have to fight for it right at the end. Can he make the move on Jetsi? Jetsi's out of the ERS. So is Crumpton. Crumpton's going to go to the outside. Will he make it work around the outside? Brilliant move from the Mercedes, who's now up into P1. And he defends his P1 right at the end. Unfortunate for Jetsi, who thought he might have had a half chance to win this race. But Crumpton, fortunately for him, was able to get back into the session quickly and rejoin, and will now definitely be taking the race win once again. But a huge scare for the Mercedes driver, I'm sure, when he lagged out of this session. Like, I'm sure all the viewers, I was absolutely shocked, and that might have been all his hard work erased. He managed to get back in the session with 1 lap remaining and re-overtake Jetsi for the race win, and will go on to win this race. The gap is 2 seconds now, and it's only been 1 lap. As Norwegian boy's all over the back of Prems, and Norwegian boy makes a move on Prems. Does Prems have a problem? Prems is very slow. Oh, maybe he just had a bit of a moment on the exit. But anyways, this man's been unstoppable today. He came back from adversity. He wins the Portuguese Grand Prix. It's Crumpton who wins at Portugal. Jetsy wins on penalties, I think, but Crumpton didn't have any penalties, so I'm not quite sure how that works. That'll probably be reviewed by the stewards. That's United finishes P3, 3/10 off Crumpton. Prems is up to P4, Norwegian Boy down to P5. Prince will finish this race in P6. Dizzy Mason says my heart dropped. Yep, it all did. Everyone's hearts dropped. Darren Norwegian Boy drops P7. Josh P8. Pinty P9. Hilstadino is actually P9. Pinty P8. Hilstadino's P9 after, and MW15 couldn't make it work on the soft compound tyres. Finishes P10. Dirk will take home P11 in this race, and the rest are ghosted or DNF'd from the session, so the race is over. But what a fantastic race. Huge congrats to Crumpton, who will win this race. How come he got P2? I'm not sure. I think it's a glitch on the F1 game's part, as the Mercedes driver didn't have any penalties, so he will jump back up to P1 after this race. So good result for the Mercedes driver, who wins his first race in NRL, and that will help him in the championship battle. Jetsy with P2, very good result for the Dutch driver. The Snyder finishes P3, making it Alfa Romeo 2-3. Good points in the constructors for Alfa Romeo again, who extend their lead. Prem's P4 for McLaren. Prince finishes P5 for the AlphaTauri team, who Danilo didn't have a good race once again. Norwegian Boy finishes P6 for Dutch Racing Alliance, and Aston Martin after starting P2 just couldn't make it work today. Josh finishes P7, Pinty P8, Hilstadino P9, making it Norwegian P8, P9. MW15 finishes 10th in the McLaren, rounding out the top 10, and that means no points for the championship leader as it stands. Dirk 2864, Danilo no points either. Lelo King scores 0 points. Conan Cronz scores 0 points. Jayville, Elite Casper, Dizzy Mason, and Harry were the retirees from today's race, and they all scored 0 points. But what a fantastic race. Crumpton fully deserved win. Drama at the end, as there normally is with this British Mercedes driver, who seems to have a perfect race right until the end, just like at Saudi Arabia where he spun at the end, which ultimately cost him the race win. Today he lagged out of the session, but fortunately was able to get back in and still retain his race win. So good result for the Mercedes driver, who has to make things hard for himself at times, but we'll see what he can do next week at round 4 of the NRL Championship, where we will be going to Bahrain. So the second night race of the season will be a very interesting race to see what everyone can do. But I've been VR F1 Lover today commentating, and I hope you've enjoyed this stream, and I'll see you all next week for round 4 of the PlayStation Tier 2. Thank you for watching.